What is up, y'all? Manny, Carrera, your real estate resource, and this is episode number 22 of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions, where we sit with entrepreneurs, influencers, movers, and shakers over a glass of some fine whiskey. Today, I'm going to be sitting with the very talented recording artist, Elia Esparza. Elia, how are you?
I'm good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are probably one of the most famous people that I know here in El Paso. You have a voice of a god. No, but you are very known here. I mean, you have made a mark here in El Paso, especially with your appearance on The Voice, which we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
You're actually not going to be drinking whiskey. We're waiting for a fresh coffee with some, what did he say he was going to put in it?
He said he was going to put,
what is it? The coffee?
Alcohol in it. Bailey's, yeah. I was like,
So we're waiting for a fresh coffee.
Yeah.
It's going to be coming, and but I'm going to be drinking a little whiskey tonight. It's a cold night here in El Paso. What is it, like 40 degrees?
It's 40 degrees.
Yeah. So I'm going to be sipping on some Scotch whiskey today. Lagavulin. This is an Islay single malt Scotch whiskey, and it's actually was made in a cherry cask. I could kind of taste the cherry. I would ask you to smell it, maybe.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
see what you smell.
That's
It's a little
nice.
sweet, right?
Yeah.
So this one's actually really good, especially on a cold night. It's getting me pretty warm, and that's probably why I screwed up this intro like 3 times. Screwed up this intro 3 times. But excited to have you on the show. You know, when we started this podcast 22 episodes ago, we were sitting and talking about people that have really been doing some big things here in the city.
Yeah.
And of course, your name came up. So let's start off by you kind of telling us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So I was born here in El Paso, and then I actually moved to San Diego for 12 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. And then I moved back when I was like in the 7th grade.
Okay.
I went to Clark Middle School, and then I went to America's High School and graduated.
That's where they're all coming from.
I know, America's. Woo-hoo. I was before Khalid. No, I'm just kidding.
That was your first.
I'm like way old. No, I graduated 2010 from America's, and I was 17, and I don't know why, I just decided to move to New York and go to the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts for Film and Television.
Wow.
Which is a private art school out there that I was accepted to, and growing up, I've been singing since I was 3 years old, and then started training when I was 9 or 10, did my first showcase at 11.
Wow.
Trained in opera when I was 13 to like 15, 16. Did choir, theater. I was super involved in high school and like did all those fun activities.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. And
so you're very artsy.
Yeah.
You grew up in that environment.
Yeah. I kind of always knew that I wanted to do some sort of performance. So like acting, singing, musicals.
Right.
Like I'm not the best dancer, but I love to dance. So
A for effort.
Yeah. So I was accepted to the New York Conservatory, and I moved when I was 17.
Wow.
And I attended over there and ended up staying in New York for 6 years.
Wow.
New York City. And
out there, that's when you were really kind of pursuing that type of career.
Yeah, I went to school, and it was more based on acting than anything, but I just started meeting so many people in music, and we shared a dorm room with these kids that were going to a sound engineering school.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Those are good people to know, especially if you're
and I met all these guys, these musicians, and all of a sudden they were inviting me to studios. And once they all graduated, they all went to different studios in New York and Brooklyn, and I was friends with all of them. So they'd call me and be like, hey, like, can you come to the session? Can you do a demo for us? Can you write to something? Can you come check? And I was just hanging out in every single studio. I've been to like the depths of Brooklyn, basement studios, like
the closets.
Yeah, the closets with like rappers and like all this. I was like,
that's insane.
I went to like anyone that invited me to a studio, like I was there, even though I was still in school, like, and I was trying to focus on acting. I just kept being pulled into music, and then I started taking voice lessons with like a vocal coach out there, and he was just like, well, what do you want to do? You know, like, what is your real...
You just want to
what's
sing?
like the main thing, you know? And I was like, well, I love acting, I love being on stage, I love singing, but I feel more natural when I'm making music, when I'm performing as myself. And at the same time, I was auditioning, and this was kind of before the ethnic ambiguity came into play, where like, you know, now we're all about like, we want everyone, all the colors of the rainbow, like in the films and TV, and this was kind of like right before that was happening. So I wasn't white enough, and I wasn't Latin enough, and I wasn't.
You were just something. In the
I was
middle,
like, I'm so random, like, and so I just didn't. I didn't fit into any. You know, I had an agent, and they were like, we don't even know what to send you for, because I didn't look. I'm full Mexican, but I don't.
You didn't look the part.
I don't look like, you know, the generic, how people might see that as. And over there they have Dominican and Puerto Rican and like all these different races.
You got the whole boiling pot,
And so like but I also don't look Caucasian, so it was just a weird time. And so I was getting frustrated and just decided to... Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This looks so good.
Fernando out here.
Yeah, shout out.
Wanted a shot and a shot.
No, this is perfect.
Serving up some fresh. Episode number 2. Episode number 2 out here.
Yeah, I'll get to your room.
Serving up some fresh coffee with some.
There you go.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. So I was getting frustrated and felt like, and I'm also not the best at auditioning. Like, I'm just so awkward, and like, you know, if you put me on a stage, and it's different, but like when it comes to just, I mean, maybe now I'd be better, but at the time I was a completely different person, you know, fresh out of college and trying to figure out like, who am I? But music came naturally. It just, I was writing every day. I was thrilled. Like I would come alive in the studio, like just to like, you know, oh, I came up with this idea, or I want to sing this song, and then I started doing every single open mic in New York.
That's
to kind of
just getting that exposure, or was it more just to kind of clear those nerves that you might have?
I think like I developed this anxiety in college of like, because when I was in high school I was fearless. Like I had no problem being on stage, no problem being ridiculous or like putting myself out there. And then I went through school, and it just, you know, it was like growing up super fast in New York, like surrounded by all these people.
That pace is crazy.
Yeah, and I just kind of lost myself for a time period, because I, you know, basically in school they were kind of like, everything you know, forget it, and like learn this now. And so it was kind of like I had to kind of bring back who I was with all the new things that I had learned, along with the experiences and growing, like living on my own in New York, and
at such a young age.
Like it was.
I moved to Miami when I was 22, and I still felt like, damn, I don't know nobody. Like it's tough, you know, especially to be out there. You have to kind of start your circle from scratch. You know, find yourself.
I mean, it's just like, and then actors were crazy. Like everyone, like all my roommates were crazy. Like we were all nuts, and so we didn't know what we were doing. I lived in a studio with 5 people. Wow. And it was, I mean, it was probably the size of this room.
All artists? We
were all actors, writers, dancers, singers. Just, it was like, have you seen the movie Rent? The musical?
No.
Okay, it was like Rent. If you've seen it, you know.
It sounds like
it was kind of like Friends, but we're all artists.
Okay.
You know, like we just,
all in one apartment.
We lived in a tiny room, and we were all crazy, and just it was just a crazy time. It was so fun and much needed probably, but once I decided, there came a point where I just decided that I only wanted to focus on music. And I wasn't really gonna pursue acting until I felt it was like the time to do so. And once I decided that, I was probably like 21 or so, or 22, and I started doing every single open mic I could find. I found like a guitarist, and we learned a couple songs, we wrote some songs together, and we would just go to every single open mic. And because in New York there's one almost every night. Yeah,
my sister, she lives out there, and you check her Snap, she's at a concert every single day. There's like so much happening out there.
There's something happening every single night.
Day,
and that helped me really just kind of like put my voice out there, gain confidence, gain stage presence again.
Right.
Just kind of, you know, make moves, you know. I've never really been like a perfectionist, but I've always been an advocate for like, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't, because I could sit for hours thinking about like, oh, let me plan this out, let me like, no, I can't do that until I do this type of thing. I'm more of a like, just do it and then figure it out.
Yeah. Figure
Like,
it out later.
Like, I don't know why that's like been the kind of strategy that I use for myself.
Well, I think it's important to have that mentality, because a lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the people that have made it have had that mentality. You don't hear those stories of, you know, I'm famous because I carefully thought this out for 7 years before I put my name out there.
Yeah.
You know, all these people are just like, I love this is my passion, I'm gonna go after it.
Yeah.
And once you develop that mentality, I think the cautiousness and what people think of you kind of diminishes, you know, and it goes away. And that's really what holds a lot of people back from doing those things and actually taking that first step. And I'm only saying this because I remember my first time getting in front of people and performing, and I was gonna throw up. You know? I had my cousin punching me outside the stomach because I was like, hit me, keep hitting me. I was like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm hurting.
And that's to say, like, I don't think, I mean, I used to get so nervous, like shaking, my legs shaking uncontrollably. I probably, like, because I used to sing the national anthem, like, in high school, or, like, do performances. I would mess up every time.
Really?
Like
I think on the
so
national
bad.
anthem, it's, like, unless you really butcher it, it's hard to even know what the real words are. For me, like, I'm like, is that
It's not even the words, though. It's, like, the notes. Because it's not an easy song to sing. Like, people, and people would go crazy with it, but, like, just the basis of it, like, that there's that jump and the rockets red glare, you know, like that.
Wow.
That's like
I was hoping you sang.
You know, that part, like. But I used to but even in other songs I used to just like mess up so much, and I think just now I practice like crazy.
Really?
Like that is. I won't go on stage without knowing, like, that's what I think you do have to plan out, you know, as an artist or whatever, you know, you can apply it to anything, but, like, you gotta know what you're doing.
Right.
Like, once you figure out, like, okay, these are the steps, after I've already messed up, how can I fix it, how can I improve? But the main thing was that, like, I didn't know what I was doing, and then I found myself in studios, and then I found myself recording with this producer from Sony. And he literally heard me singing. I was like singing a tune, waiting for my vocal class at a studio in downtown Manhattan. And he walked by and he's like, "Are you a singer?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Come to my studio right now." And I was like, "Okay." And then he started.
You're very trustful.
Playing. I'm like the worst. Like I used to get in cars with strangers. Yeah, like I have like no chill, but it's fine. And I go into his studio and he starts like playing this beat. I start writing to it. I lay down the track. Like, I probably wrote that song in like 15 minutes. And then I had my first song.
Really?
And then he was like, "Come back tomorrow, like, we'll write more." And I was like, okay. And then that, like, I would just go every day or anytime he was free. Like, he'd be like, "Hey, come right now." I'd be like, I was there. And I would write a song. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't really know how to record either. I was still kind of learning.
Yeah, because you're not, like, a lot of people don't understand writing a song is just as hard as hitting those notes too, because you have to, one, make sense, but two, it's very creative. You have to know where the song's going. And a lot of artists, I've heard that, you know, they'll listen to the beat first and then they'll paint this picture and this image of how this song is going to go. So it takes a lot of creativity to even write. Yeah. Let alone sing and hit some notes.
I don't even, and it takes a whole nother thing, performing and recording.
Right.
They're two different, because when you're performing, you know, it's a different level.
You're at, sometimes in pieces too, right? You're recording in pieces where you're performing and it's like live. I think the hardest thing though is your breath. What is one of the hardest things for you singing, or one of the hardest things that you kind of had to overcome with these lessons, or, you know?
I think it was mostly like practicing.
Yeah.
Like, I think when I was younger I was lazy and I would just like sing and kind of wing it. And then I realized that when I wing it, sometimes like it works out and sometimes it didn't work out. And so I really focused. I mean, when I lived in New York, I was like broke, like super, like I had like 4 jobs. Like I worked as a clown, I worked as a door girl when I was like 18.
You're a clown?
I was a clown for
No
4
way.
years. Yeah, like I'm not even funny. Like,
You're funny.
you know, like yeah, I was a clown, I was a babysitter, I was a chef's assistant. Like what? And I delivered food. I worked in 10 different restaurants. Like I did all the jobs, right?
And what was this for? To pay for studio time?
To pay for rent.
To pay for rent. To just survive.
Just to live, not even to like. I never got. I mean, it's crazy because in New York, you really never know where you're gonna end up. Like you could like leave your house and be like, okay, I gotta go do this, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm at a movie premiere or I'm at like like I'm at the top floor of like the Trump Tower, or like crazy stuff like that would happen to me. And I was lucky enough, I never had to pay for studio time because I was able to meet people who like believed in me,
right,
and could kind of like help me out, or I would exchange my time like helping them out with something.
Right. You're bartering your time, your voice.
But all those jobs were mostly for just to like live.
Right.
And so my whole thing was kind of like, well, I got to use what I have. And I vocalize every single day. I sing every single day. Like, if I don't, then I feel the difference. But I really took the time to like develop my voice, because I think what I struggled with was like nerves, number 1, and then number 2, I didn't have the best control.
Okay.
When I was young, like when
as far as your emotion.
And then I basically filmed for 4 months.
Out there,
rehearsing and living that life. And I mean, they obviously air the show like later, so I already knew that I was off the show.
Yeah, you're like, just wait until
well, and it's crazy because, you know, the day that I lost, that I got off the show, it's crazy because call time was 5 a.m. I have 6 people doing my hair, makeup, nails, skin, wardrobe, like sound check. Like I have all these people all over me. And then right after, they're like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to fly? We're buying your ticket right now. You leave tonight. Like, you're like, oh, the dream's over.
You're the star.
And then it's over, like, real quick. Like,
where do you want to go? It's just at Bali or something. Like,
well,
take me.
I was like, well, I don't have an apartment in New York. So I guess I'll just come back to El Paso. Kind of figure out my next move.
Yeah.
And chill out for a sec, because it's been a crazy few months. And luckily my parents were there, so it was kind of like, you know, just come home and we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay. I came home, and the next day I was like back at it. Like I was like, okay, if I'm going to be in El Paso, like I need to be productive. I need to have like things to do, you know. And so I had a few friends that are involved in like the music scene here, and being like, hey, come to this show, hey, come check this out, hey, do this and that. And so it was about 2 weeks before my episode was going to air.
And they let you know when it was?
Well, they didn't let us know.
Oh,
but it was
just look for
they kind of like hinted, but I wasn't sure for sure. So in those 2 weeks, I was just networking. I was just trying to see like, what can I do while I'm here? Because my original plan was not to stay here, and here I am 2 years later. But I was kind of like, I want to move to LA, or I got to get back to New York, or this and that. So I was already like kind of back on it, and my parents were like, you need to like relax. And I was like, no, there's no time.
Hey, what do you mean?
And then once my episode aired, it was madness. It was madness.
How was it?
It was insane. I had kind of like a little viewing party at my house, like with my close friends, and we were all freaking out, and I had 10,000 notifications.
Wow.
My phone overheated and froze.
Broke.
It just froze, and I was like, oh my God. And I think
you're like, do I want this life?
Yeah. No, I was so excited because I was like trying to like respond to everyone and like everything, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just didn't, I mean, I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. Like and they kind of tell you like, hey, you know, you might get a lot of hate comments, you might do this, but like, don't read it. the hate comments and things like that. And I am lucky enough when I did that, like, I got nothing but love from El Paso, especially.
El Paso loves it.
And it changed my life. It really changed my life. It was I'm still learning as I go. Like, I'm a very, like, I learn when I do things, you know, through experience more than just like reading something or
you're hands-on.
Like, I need to go through it to understand. And so I started booking shows, and I was being booked for, you know, interviews and to do I've been booked ever since, basically.
For 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years, riding this way. I mean, it was like I was going to events like crazy. I also lost 20 pounds.
Really?
When I moved back to El Paso. Yeah.
Why was that? Because most people gain weight.
I know, right? I don't know.
The food here is
I don't know.
delicious.
I mean, my mom's cooking is amazing, but I was so busy. I wasn't even working out. Like, I was just like...
You were everywhere.
I was everywhere.
You were living the New York life.
Yeah.
Because out in New York, I visited my sister 2 months ago. We were walking about 11 to 15 miles a day. You know, it's crazy.
That's the life.
Yeah.
But I think I was in such I was so stressed in New York, for sure. And stress is like a number one thing for you, like, not to lose weight. But I just wasn't, I don't know what it was. I just dropped weight like that. I probably dropped like 15 pounds, and then I started like with my trainer, Lizzie Martinez. And then so she got me like another 5, and then like now I'm more toned in. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But I was so busy. I was doing everything I could. I said yes to everything.
That's awesome. And your exposure here in the city has grown, I mean, tremendously.
Yeah,
Aside from just being on The Voice, your name is still well known.
Yeah.
And I know you've been heavily involved with a lot of local businesses here in El Paso. Every time I check my Instagram, because we network so much with businesses here that, you know, seeing you at different places and singing and really networking and getting your exposure out there, you haven't stopped. Like, I'm still seeing you.
I mean, when I first got back and started going to shows and started going to events and things like that, it was exciting because I was rediscovering El Paso.
Right.
And I had great friends who were like, hey, this is happening. I remember my friend told me about Khalid. And it was right before he like released Location. And I had another friend who was like, hey, I just walked into the studio. You have to come here. Like, you have to come here right now. And I was like, okay. And so I drive over, and it's Beacon Hill Recording Studios. And I met with the owner, and I sang for him, and I kind of talked to him about what I wanted to do. And then he was like, well, we'd love to help you out. And I was so, like, honored, and, you know, Beacon Hill has, like, really, really helped my career and my music, and that's where Khalid recorded Location. Yeah. I didn't even know that at the time, and I think like a week or so later, he calls me, and he's like, hey, I want you to meet someone, come to the studio right now. It's like 9 a.m. And I'm like, I'm not ready or anything, so I like showered super fast and went, and it was Khalid.
That's awesome.
And I met Khalid, and I mean, I didn't know who he was.
He hadn't even blown up.
He was like, I think he had just put out Location, but it wasn't, I mean, he's a mega star now, you know, and he was so nice, and we were just talking, and he was like, can I get a photo with you? And I was like, can I get a photo with you? Like, what are you talking about? And we took a photo, and we talked, and he showed me Location, and it was really cool. And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome. I was actually in Miami when that song dropped.
Oh, really?
And I remember, like, it's crazy because I get goosebumps just talking about it, because I remember so vividly. You're looking at my arm. I'm getting goosebumps.
Wow.
But I remember so vividly, like, hearing, I'm cruising to, I think, the beach or somewhere cool, tropical.
Yeah, somewhere Miami.
And the song comes up on Apple Music, on New Music, you know? I'm always in that category.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard it drop and his voice, I was like, holy shit, who's this?
Yeah, yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, I just remember thinking, they don't make songs like this anymore.
Yeah.
Because his voice and
his
just
style,
his style,
it was very different. Yeah.
So I didn't even know who he was. I downloaded that one song. I was listening to it for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then I moved back to El Paso.
And then you're like,
I live right by America.
Oh, really?
So I'm there, and I was hearing about an artist that was blowing up here, and it was actually Evander Grimm.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. There's a rapper finally. You know, he's with Gucci Mane.
Yeah.
He's recording with a bunch of big artists.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember hearing about another artist, a singer.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't think I've only heard like one person mention his name. So I was like, I didn't pay much attention.
Yeah, you didn't know. Yeah.
Until I heard on the radio, and I was like, this is the guy? I was like, this guy's from El Paso? I was like,
crazy,
holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and you know, I started recording there and doing videos, and it's crazy. It's just been a crazy journey, and moving back here was exactly what I needed for my life. Because I love being busy. I love that go, hit the pavement running, like let's go.
Yeah.
But New York was definitely, it's a hard life, you know, and it was wearing me down a little, and I think I needed to kind of move here, rediscover, I mean, like I love coffee, and I love music, and I love culture, and I like things like that, and I noticed that since I moved back, the amount of like coffee shops and boutiques and cool bars and cool...
You moved back 2 years ago. I moved back 2 years ago.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
So we're experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
I agree with you. El Paso has just taken a different direction.
Yeah.
You know? When we were talking about it before the podcast, but when 2 years ago, or 7 years ago, El Paso was nothing like it is today.
Yeah.
You know? Even the mentality, it was just like, there's an event, nobody's buying tickets.
Yeah.
Nobody wants anything to come in El Paso.
Yeah.
You know, people were questioning why an expensive restaurant would open up because nobody's going to go. You know, but now it's like, this city is headed in the direction of a bigger city,
I think
know?
I think like our generation, very open-minded, very go-getter, very like let's create our own opportunities, because, you know, especially I think like everyone should live in different cities, big cities, small cities, everything in between, because it really opens your eyes to like just different things, you know. Like I was so spoiled in New York with like, you know, all of the concerts and all the poetry slams and all the weird, like I went to the weirdest events, you know, and to come here and be like, okay, we're popping up, we're here.
Yeah, and you see the opportunity too. Not only that, but you just see the city opening their eyes to a little bit more of that culture, of that artsiness. And I think it's really coming to the city. I'm getting, you know, there's a lot of restaurants and places that you'll walk into and it just doesn't feel like El Paso anymore. Yeah. You know? Well,
like it feels like El Paso, but it's just like, it's a different, it's something new.
Yeah.
It's something like, and that's what I think we really need, because I think a lot of people are always like, I want to leave El Paso, I want to move, and this and that. And again, like I think people should leave, and then if they want, come back. Yeah. And then there's so much opportunity here because there's not a lot of coffee shops, or there's not a lot of podcasts being done, or there's not a lot of, you know, things like that were supported as much before, and now we're ready to support. Like we're totally like, let's do it.
People are so supportive of local restaurants. So supportive of local talent. Photography. You know, you just see so much support now.
There's so much talent here. Like in so many aspects.
And that's the whole reason for this podcast. You know, I think the mentality, and that's what I saw moving back. I was just like, people aren't seeing what I'm seeing right now. Like I see the city growing so much, and I see the city in a different perspective now, that I think I love the city. Like I loved it before I left, but now I even love it more because I know the direction it's headed, and I know that this is our opportunity to kind of build it. You know? And make leave our footprint in the city.
And I think it's necessary, because we sometimes do have to like let go of old ways. Like still, I think El Paso, what we're good about is keeping our culture alive. Very alive, you know, and there really is no city like El Paso that I've been to so far. And it's, people complain or people laugh about it, but I think it's great. Like I think it's awesome.
There's so much culture, even like social media, it's hot right now, Fit Fam.
Oh my gosh,
like, it's the El Paso thing.
It's kind of like, oh wow. But it's great. I think it's great, and you know, like now I'm just more focused. I think that I spent the first like year and a half just exploring everything, and I'm still exploring. I'm still everywhere, but now I'm more grounded and more focused on working on my like original music, in my brand, yeah, and I really just being creative and kind of doing something different, and you know, I've been lucky enough to perform for the Sun Bowl or like, you know, at the Chihuahua Stadium.
And just recently you performed at
the Raiders game.
A Raiders game.
In
That was like 2 weeks ago, right?
It was like 2 weeks ago, which is it's so surreal, and it was such a fun experience. It was so I was there for like maybe less than 24 hours.
I saw that was a quick trip.
Yeah,
I saw when you got there. You sang that same like 2 hours later. You were in the airport.
And I had a gig with GECU like right before. Sang straight to the airport, flew, sleep, wake up, stadium, sing, leave. Like,
wow.
And then like my friend went with me, and we were both kind of like, wow, that just happened. And my birthday was a few days after that.
Yeah, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you.
What day?
The 4th, October 4th.
I'm the 7th.
Oh,
Yeah. Happy birthday.
So it was kind of like the best way to kind of start my new year. You know, I feel like I kind of start my new year on my birthday more than, I mean, the new year as well, but like,
your resolutions start.
Yeah, like
age.
they restart again.
Yeah.
But it was just incredible. And so now I'm working on an EP. I'll be releasing a song really, really soon.
Awesome.
I don't have an exact date yet, but I know it's going to be before the end of the year. And then I think I'm going to be singing way too many emotions, but I'm saying like just control of the voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I knew I could sing, but I just also doubted myself.
Right.
And that's one thing that like my mentor also helped me with. In our first lesson, he basically made me go like up and down the scales, and he was like, you can sing any song in the world. You just have to believe it. And that changed my life.
Really?
Like, he changed my life. Like,
just gave you that belief.
Him just saying that, I like went home and was like, oh my God. Because I think when I was in school, I didn't sing for like 2 years. Like, I didn't think I could sing anymore. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh no, like.
So after singing since 3, getting lessons at 8, 9.
Yeah, like my whole life singing, and then I go to college and I was focused on acting. And then I kind of like lost my confidence, lost who I was, like just kind of, it was like a whirlwind, and I didn't really sing anymore. And then I was kind of like, oh, I should get back into it. And that's when I found my mentor, and he changed my life.
Wow.
And I was in shock. And then from that day on, I was like, I'm doing music, I'm singing every day, I'm writing every day, I'm doing whatever it takes to do that. And I think what mostly was, because it was already in me, but like it was that belief, that switch.
Yeah.
And
that kind of changed for you once you met your mentor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, having a mentor, I think in anything that you're doing, especially if you're trying to be the best at it or you're trying to improve and grow at it, I think having a mentor is important. You know, I actually had a mentor starting real estate as well.
Yeah.
So how important would you say it is to have a mentor if you are thinking of pursuing a career, you know, like this?
I mean, I think it's important to have someone, you know, even if they're not necessarily in the like area that you're in,
right.
Someone that believes in you. To like, I mean, I don't talk to my mentor every day, and I never have, but like the times that I do, it's very meaningful. I take it very to heart because I know he believes in me.
Right.
And so, and it took that first lesson with him to change the entire course of my life.
Yeah.
Just
one person believing in you can change.
And at the time, like, it's not that, like, my parents have been very supportive my whole life, luckily enough. So it's not like, oh, I didn't have that support, and I had great friends and everything, but it's different when, like, someone who's in the business, who's done it, who's probably heard a million singers, who's, you know, whether... Maybe he was just saying that to like help me out the first lesson, but it really shifted my whole mindset. And because I was in a very low place, and I don't know where I'd be today if I hadn't have like gone to that lesson and continued with him, and then started to create this belief for myself, like, you can do this, just do it. And then I started to make YouTube videos. And if you watch my first YouTube video, I'm literally like, okay, I'm gonna sing the song, whether you like it or not, okay, like, here we go, like, I'm so, like, I'm like, okay, here we go, like,
are you guys ready?
Yeah, like, I'm doing it, like as if like I had to justify that I'm gonna sing. Yeah. And it's funny because now I mean I'm at a different, you know, been so long, and especially after The Voice, when you realize like millions of people have watched me sing.
Yeah.
Like I think they took down my audition from The Voice because they do it every 2 years. They take them down, but the last time I checked, it had 8 million views.
Wow.
And I was like, that's terrifying. And after that I kind of got like through The Voice and seeing how many people had seen me, I was like, oh my God, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like what's performing in front of 500 people to a packed stadium?
Yeah, like I still get nervous, I still get excited, but like now I'm just like.
You have that confidence.
Yeah, I feel fearless.
Right.
I don't feel like, oh my gosh, like what if I mess up one note, or what if I like don't look cute in that angle, or this and that. Because I honestly was not. I don't think Como la Flor was like my best performance. You know, like people will be like, oh my God, and I'll be like, yeah. Like I don't think it was my, especially now that I feel like I'm more developed. It's been 2 years since I did that. And like I don't think I looked great. I don't think I sounded that great. And like I'm still grateful for the opportunity.
Right.
And I can like look back at it and be like, wow, like look how much I've grown since then. But at the time I was like, oh my gosh, I hate it. Like, but here's another million views.
Yeah.
Like,
so tell me a little bit about that experience. You know, being on The Voice, being on national TV, not only national, right, worldwide. I mean,
I mean, The Voice is the most watched show in the world.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. People love to see talent.
Yeah, and even if they don't watch the whole episode, like all the auditions are like all over YouTube and all over the net. And it's crazy because when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, I think I even auditioned when I was 20.
For The Voice?
For The Voice, American Idol, America's Got Talent, all those shows. I auditioned for all of them and never made it past anything.
So how does that work? Talk to me a little bit about the structure for those people that are only watching on TV.
Okay.
You know, how does it work for you to become even a contestant or even have that opportunity?
Yeah. So basically, okay, there's several ways. But like when I was younger, I stood in line. You know, I went to Denver, I went to Dallas, like I went to San Diego. Like I went to different cities, and you stand in line for like 15 hours.
So those are real.
Those are real.
Those episodes are real.
Yeah, like
you see people like camping out.
Oh yeah, those are real. They're horrible. But like I remember my mom went with me for one, and I had friends. Like I remember I went out to a club and then saw that they were having American Idol auditions
The next day.
Like
or where?
Yeah, like I think I was like I must have been like 18 or 19. Because I was going out in San Diego with like a friend, and she was like, there's like auditions, and I was like, should we do it? And we're like, yeah, let's.
You at the club?
we were like at this like 18 and over night type of thing.
So you weren't drinking?
No, I wasn't drinking, but like we were out, and then we're like, let's just stay downtown and get in line and audition.
She went right after the club?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So from like 1 in the morning, I think I sang at like 3 p.m.
In the same outfit?
In the same outfit.
Holy shit.
And I didn't make it through. Like basically, so at those like massive ones at the cattle calls, that's what I call them, you wait forever. And then there's like tents of producers.
Okay.
And basically they line you up, and there's usually like 5-10 people in your line, and then you sing for 15 seconds, and then they'll be like, great, you stay. The rest of you, thank you. And then if you like move on, then you move on to the next 10. And you basically have to get through 5 rounds of producers.
Before you could get on TV?
Before you even get in front of the blind auditions or the coaches or American Idol or any of those.
So how many auditions are there before you got to that point on The Voice where you were up on the stage?
Okay, so that's one way, right? But the way I got on was they found me on YouTube. Which is hilarious. Yeah, because at that point I was like 23, and I only had like a few videos up, not good, like not good quality, not like my singing was okay.
Yeah.
And I got an email and they were like, hey, we're from The Voice. We'd love to have you, you know, on the show. And I was like, what? And then I had a phone call with them, and then I sent in like a video, like a private video, like, okay, here's me singing with no microphone, nothing, just so that they know it's like not edited. And then they were like, great, we're gonna fly you out this day, and
wow,
we'll see you here. But usually there's so many rounds of producers, honestly. Like for The Voice, I got really lucky, and I just had to go through that one, like, send the video type of thing, and then I was on the show. But I was talking to people who did the cattle call, who went through 5 rounds of producers, or who went through at least 3, because there's like a pre-producer one. It was insane. There's like so many different ways. But today I think they do look a lot on YouTube and Instagram.
Really? So they're recruiting? Right?
Yeah, I mean, every show that I've done is because of YouTube or Instagram.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So building your brand, building your presence, obviously The Voice helped a lot, right? With not only national, you know, exposure,
yeah.
but I think back home too, right? Because
Yeah.
you did say that you were from El Paso, and
Yeah.
that really blew up out here. You know, El Pasoans get anytime you're out of town and you mention El Paso,
Yeah,
everybody's
like, yeah. And it's crazy because at first they were like, oh, Elia, because I was living in Queens at the time. And they're like, okay, Elia Esparza from Queens. And I was like, whoa, I'm not from Queens. Like, I lived there for like a year and a half. Like, I'm not from Queens. Like, and I felt like I would stand out more. I mean, I was going to say El Paso regardless, because this is where I'm from, you know? But I was like, everyone's from New York. Or like LA or Nashville. Yeah.
Everybody goes there to make
so I was like, no, like I like had, not to fight for it, but I really made it clear, like, I'm not from Queens, I'm from El Paso, Texas. And so, when I did that show, I had no idea what I was doing.
So what was that show, what did that show do for you? What was life like before the show? And what was like after the show?
Okay, so before, I was really struggling in New York. I was just I was singing everywhere. I was working everywhere. A lot of stuff wasn't really happening. And then I got that call, and so I decided to move out of my apartment. And so I sold all my stuff. I moved out, and I went to LA with.
This is when you got that call?
Yeah, I mean, basically when they were like, okay, you're gonna fly out this day.
You moved.
I was like, all right, well, because they told us we weren't going to be there for a couple of months.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I don't have money to pay rent while I'm not living here and I'm not going to be working.
Oh, that's bad.
So I was like, I'll just move out. I'll figure it out after. Maybe I'll move to LA. Maybe I'll move back. I don't know. I was like, I'll figure it out. So I went to LA with 2 huge bags because this was my life. And
everything was in those 2 bags.
I sold everything. I was like, take it. Yeah, and so I went, and I got really lucky because one of my best friends was also going to the show from New York. So we were going together, which was like so much more calming.
Yeah.
And we got to LA, and it was a dream. Like, it literally felt, I was like, wow, this life exists. Like, this life that I've like dreamed of, that I've like thought about, that you see in the movies type of thing, exists.
Yeah.
Because we get to this hotel in LA, and then it was great because like we had rehearsals with the band, then we had meetings, and then we had, you know, we were like filming at Universal Studios, and we had private cars and like all this craziness, and
so I was package.
Yeah, and I was meeting all these people, and it was just a different world. And we were so spoiled because then we'd have days off and we'd just hang out at the pool and like play music with the other people and just it was an incredible experience. And the people, like, I thought for some reason I was like, oh, I hope people aren't catty or like weird or really competitive, because I'm not like that. Like I'm not like a, you know, let me get you down so I can get ahead type of thing. I'm more like competitive with myself than I am with others. And we all just became a really huge family. Everyone was so nice. Everyone was like, yeah, kumbaya, you know, type of thing. And I did the show, and I really didn't realize the impact that Como la Flor was gonna have.
It's so, I think for El Paso, just in general, it was like representing in a big way.
Yeah.
You know, with tradition. I mean,
Yeah,
just the
singing in
Mexican
Spanish
culture.
and Selena.
Yeah.
And because you know, we had to write a list of songs that we wanted to sing. And of course, I was like, I want to sing Christina Aguilera, or I want to sing Mariah Carey, or Whitney Houston. And they're like, okay, like, we decided you're going to do Como la Flor. And it was on my list, but I was like, oh,
You're like,
okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
It makes me stand out because I'm singing Spanish. It's a Selena song. Everyone knows the song. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'll make it work. I was nervous because it was in Spanish too, because I was like, oh, but I don't know. Like, I just didn't know, but I was like, well.
would you say English is more your strong suit, singing?
Yes. I can sing, I mean, I love singing Spanish, but I'm kind of like Selena, like, I don't have like 1,000% Spanish, like, I'm
Right.
not, you know, super.
I'm a pocho.
Yeah, like.
There's days where I'm like, I sound like a Puerto Rican, and there's days where I'm like, I can't even get across a single sentence.
Yeah,
you know,
so I was kind of nervous because I wasn't so used to it as much because
Right.
I was living in New York and not here as much. But you know, once it's decided, I was kind of like, let's do it, and then I did it at the Fountains in December. I'll be doing like a Christmas series.
Nice. On
Every
stage.
Friday at 12, I'll be performing Christmas songs with my band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be
That's
super
really cool.
fun and just really focused on doing shows and being more creative and
Yeah.
trying to expand it.
So what's next? What's next for Elia Esparza?
I really want 2019 to be like I'm gonna be releasing a lot of music,
That's awesome.
like every 6 or so weeks. So I wanted to really be focused on that and kind of, because I think a lot of people know me as the girl from The Voice, and I've done American Idol, and I did La Voz Mexico, and I also opened for Laura Pausini at the Greek Theater
Wow.
a couple months ago, and that was an incredible experience. But I think a lot of people know me for like Como la Flor or like The Voice, which is great, and I'm so grateful because it's kind of nice to be known around town, especially being gone for so long.
Right.
But I really kind of want to step away from just that
Yeah. And create
and
your own.
kind of start to introduce who I am as an artist.
Right.
Because I don't think people really know yet. And
Yeah.
it's taken me some time to kind of figure out like where I want to go, because I love all kinds of music, but really kind of just start putting out there my music and
Yeah. Your style. Your.
yeah, like that, really focusing on that, because I don't want to. I mean, I'd probably sing Como la Flor like 3,000 times by now, but
And that's Selena's song. You wanna have Elia's song.
like I'm not. I mean, I love Selena, and that song has done me wonders, but I really just want to show who I am as an artist.
Right. That's awesome. What advice would you have for somebody that, you know, has a singing, you know, I was gonna say singing voice. That makes sense. You know, is a singer, has a voice, but just lacks that confidence. You know, back when we were talking about, back when we were talking a little bit about your story, you know, and that, you know, year or two that you went through, where you lacked confidence, where you kind of in a rut. You know, somebody that wants to put their voice out there, wants to put their name out there, and they're passionate about music, but doesn't have that confidence to put themselves out there.
Yeah, I would say work with what you have. You know, really, like, because it's like there's so many things I want to say about it, but really work with what you have. You know, if you're not like feeling super confident or knowing who you are, just start with your favorite song and make a video or book a show. Just do it. Just forget like all, you know, the questions for it and just figure out the answers.
Yeah.
You know, and really just like the biggest thing I think is just putting yourself out there and then figuring it out. You know, because the first things that you put out there as any artist isn't going to be that great.
Right.
You know, so but you have to learn from that. So I would say to, you know, an aspiring artist to just practice put some content out there, get yourself out there. If you need lessons, get lessons. If you need, you know, coaching, get coaching. Or if you want to be on stage, go watch people on stage. You know, like really do your research, really learn, and don't be afraid. What's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to say something mean, like, that's going to happen anyway. You know, like, hate is going to hate, potato is going to potato, but...
I never heard that.
I mean, like, people, you know, it's... And it is a really terrifying thing, you know, to be judged. Right. But I think if you never do it, then when?
That's true.
Like, what... And another thing is, like, don't wait. Don't wait. Just do it. Just put a 15-clip second of you singing on Instagram and start from there.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, you have to really... I think it's a lot of also, like, sitting down with yourself. I journal a lot.
That's awesome.
I write every single day. Random thoughts, you know. It doesn't even have to mean anything. It's just, but really figuring out, like, who am I? Mm-hmm. Who are you? You know, what do you want to say? What story do you want to tell? You know, why do you love to sing or make music or perform? Like, what is that? You know, and really kind of figure that out. Yeah. So I'd say a lot of self-reflection, and then just kind of saying, F it, let's do it.
Because even for you, I mean, as experienced and as many performances you've been booked for, you're still figuring out the direction that you're
going at, I mean,
you know?
I think, especially as an artist, like, it's a constant involvement. Every day I change my mind, kind of. Like, you know, I'm working on a song right now that I'm going to put out, probably the first song I'll put out, and I'll listen to it one day and be like, yeah, this is it. This is going to be so cool. Like, I love it. This is me. Like, it's my style. Can't wait, yeah. And then, like, I'll listen to it the next day and be like, this is horrible. What am I doing? Like, people are going to think I'm so weird. Whatever. Like, I hate myself. Like, you know, and then the next day I'll be like, no, this is pretty good. Like, I don't, you know, it's just, bad. And that's just, like, the human experience, and I don't really judge it. I just kind of let it happen. I don't try to.
But it sounds too like your own, you know,
biggest critic. Yeah. I mean,
and I think that's the best position to be in, because you don't want to be in a position where you're taking everyone's opinions literal, and you know that's the advice that you're taking.
Yeah.
I think really perfecting your own craft, and like you said, figuring out what you want to do, how you want to do it, who you want to be, the message you want to give, how you want to represent yourself, is all part of, you know, that. So
like, why are you doing this? You know, like, because you love it. Why else? You know. But I think as long as I'm enjoying the process, you know, I used to be like, oh, I gotta like be super pop and make the perfect pop song, or I gotta like do this or do that or sound a certain way, and then I just kind of stopped and was like, I'm just gonna sing and write what I feel. And I'm not just one thing, so there's many parts of me, and slowly but surely I think with my songs, people start to see that, you know. They've heard me sing Como la Flor, and like, you know, that fun upbeat and dancing around, and I love that, but I also have a very emotional side, and a lot of stories to tell, and a lot of sides of me, so I've kind of stopped worrying about, you know, what am I? And I'm just going to be.
You're just going to be.
I'm just going to be.
That's awesome. Because
that's who I am.
Just be part of the moment.
Yeah. I forgot we're doing video.
I know, we're just...
I'm like not even looking at the camera.
After a while, everybody starts to forget that there's a camera over here. But that's awesome, Elia. I'm really excited to see, you know, where you're going, and, you know, what the future has for you, because as it is, you know, just that one appearance on The Voice has kind of set you up to really be in a position to reach a lot of people and do that, grow your own brand, and really take this city to, you know, that next level, because there is a lot of talent here, like you said, you know.
There really
the music scene, I think, is really starting to come up.
Yeah,
here in the city.
It is. I mean, like, there's so many, like, there's already Khalid, Evander Graham, you know, the Swell Kids opened for Khalid, and and I thought that was so cool. And then also, you know, there's different bands and groups that open up for slightly bigger artists that come on tour here, and, you know, they have the chance to do that. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity here for all businesses, for artists, for entrepreneurs, and all that. So it's just kind of like you have to create that opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, we're living in a digital age where you can do that. You know,
Yeah.
nobody really has an excuse because YouTube is free. Creating that account is free.
Yeah,
They don't charge you for those uploads.
And I started with my phone.
Right.
Like I just start with my crappy like iPhone 2 or something. You know, like
I'm actually rocking at a 5 right
Oh,
now.
wow.
My ex broke. My iPhone X broke. So I use this as my burner.
Oh my
you know?
gosh.
And I've been using it for the last month. I haven't gotten my new one because I kind of missed this side.
Yeah.
I'm driving and it's so easy
Yeah.
to navigate. So I'm like,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you just gotta start with what you have, and then
Right.
eventually you'll grow because you'll commit to something, and then you'll
Don't
be like,
overcomplicate it. you know?
yeah, like once you realize like, hey, I really need this next level of equipment, or this something that I need to invest into this, investing into yourself, and eventually you'll have, you know, all the tools that you need to.
Right. And like you said, I mean, you got discovered. The Voice reached out to you, and
Yeah.
off of a crappy YouTube video.
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
probably quality was really bad.
Yeah, but I will say, because I don't want it to ever like seem like, oh, I was just like hanging out and
Right.
you know, I was discovered. It's taken me 10 years.
Yeah.
At
definitely.
least, you know, like of
Getting to that point.
trying, failing, trying again, failing, putting crap out there, putting good stuff out there, putting better content, putting better ideas. You know, it's taken time, but like it's just you have to start.
Yeah.
And then you'll get there.
Right.
You know, and there's no shortcut. There really isn't, because like even though I'd done The Voice and it was an incredible experience, I had no idea who I was as an artist at the time. And because I went through that and was like, I see. Then I moved back here, performed like crazy for a whole year. Then I did La Voz Mexico. And when I did that show, I was like, I got this. Like, I know what songs I want to sing. I know what I want to wear. I know, like, what I want to say. I know who I want. You know what I mean? It was just like,
You painted the picture of Elia Esparza.
when I did The Voice, I, like, blacked out when I performed because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And when I did La Voz, I was like, yo, here's camera 1, camera 2, let's go, you know?
Make sure you guys are on cue.
Yeah, like, I was so much more myself, and
Right.
and that's why I think when I did the Raiders a couple weeks ago, I was really excited. Like, I was jumping off the walls.
More than nervous.
I wasn't nervous.
Right.
Because, well, I practiced like crazy, but I felt that God had prepared me through all my other experiences for that moment. Or when I performed at the Greek Theater, I was like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I get to be excited now.
That's awesome.
I mean, I still get nervous, but you know, it's taken, I really do think that they say that it takes 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
To really perfect your craft,
to be a
and then
professional,
some.
yeah.
It's true. Because you know, it's unfortunate that I sometimes see artists who are like, "Oh yeah, I just like did it, whatever," and it's whatever.
I was messing around. And
and I'm like, that's cool, but like
that's rare too. And I think
yeah,
I think a lot of people shouldn't think it's gonna be that easy.
Yeah,
Or go
or like,
in with that expectation.
I've never trained or I've never taken a voice lesson and things like that, and I'm like, well, you should, because
even Denzel Washington, one of my favorite actors, is still taking acting lessons.
I still take voice lessons.
Right.
I still have like 3 different coaches.
Right.
And I still
put
practice.
in the work.
Yeah.
You gotta put in the work.
Yeah, for sure.
Elia, again, I'm really excited for this episode to drop and people to hear your
Thank
story.
you. I could talk forever. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
we
like,
could go forever.
so many stories.
Sosa's over here with the timer.
I know, he's like,
I just keep
okay,
seeing the phone.
it's
I'm like,
over.
It's coming. It's
Stop
coming.
talking.
Being that you and I share a love for El Paso, and we kind of moved back at the same time,
Yeah,
and we're
that's
able
crazy.
to experience. Because I literally hit 2 years in August that I just went back. So
Me too.
really.
Holy
So we
crap.
got around-
I got
we
back
got-
like August 11th.
I got here August 1st.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I got here August 1st, and by the 18th, I decided to stay.
Oh, wow.
So I had my cousin send me all my stuff from
Oh my
Florida.
gosh.
Yeah, same thing as you, kind of.
Well,
You moved.
like I had all my stuff,
Yeah.
but I was like,
I showed up to El Paso with 5 luggages,
Yeah.
and I sold as much as I could too.
Yeah.
Before I got over here, because I was gonna be here for a month, and I was like, it's cool. When I get back, I'm gonna be a realtor, making all this money. I'll get new stuff.
Whoa.
I ended up staying here. I had the wrong expectation first of all, because real estate's tough.
Yeah.
But I love El Paso, and I just love how many things there are to do now. So
Yeah.
I always kind of like to end on this question. what are some of your favorite places? One to eat,
Oh my gosh.
one to hang out, and another to go out when you do.
Like when I go
decide to
out. Okay. Oh man.
Food is hard.
I love food.
This first question always gets everybody.
Okay. For sure, major go-to, Healthy Bite right here downtown.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I mean, they close at, I think, at like 4. They have, because I'm a health nut, so they have these amazing salads, sandwiches. It's like totally mom and pop type of shop, you
That's
know,
awesome.
like I know the owner and her mom works there, and I think like her sisters work there, and it's so good.
Send them over. So
I've never had a bad experience there. Like, they're such nice people. I love them. And then Sushi Freak.
I haven't been to either of these places.
Okay, Sushi Freak is like off Artcraft.
Okay.
It's like in that new shopping center.
By the outlets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've only been there twice, but it's so good, and I love sushi and poke.
Really?
It's affordable.
Poke's amazing.
They make it right there in front of you,
That's
and
cool.
it's so good. So those are, I mean, I love food, so I could just
Yeah.
name so many
I
places.
also do too. My girlfriend's a chef.
Oh my gosh!
It's like,
Well,
we're always eating.
yeah. So I definitely love those two places. Hang out. Let me think. I literally live at the studio, so.
So that could be your favorite.
Like,
place
I
to
literally
go?
am like.
There's no wrong answer here.
I go to the gym, Sun City Athletic with Lizzie and Shane.
Right.
I go home, then I go to the studio.
That's your day.
That's basically my day.
Yeah.
Like today I worked out. I got a facial at Southwest Plastic Surgery. Whoop, whoop. And then I was at the studio from 11 to 7.
Wow.
Recording and working and doing stuff.
So that's a cool hangout spot.
Yeah.
I actually, when I used to do music as well, that was my favorite place too. That
Yeah.
was so therapeutic, I think. You know, for a lot of people. What about going out? What's your favorite, place to go out and have some fun?
Yeah.
So many places here too.
I haven't, like I think there was a time where I was going out a lot, and I haven't been going out as much. I always enjoy, I think, later.
Later has such a cool vibe.
I totally dig that vibe. Like, especially on a Saturday night, because I think you can go outside and just chill and sit on the swing.
You can talk.
You can hang, yeah, you can have a conversation, or you can be inside where it's a little more crazy and like dance.
Yeah.
And that's the number one thing I miss about New York is like, we used to go out and dance till 6 in the morning with no drinks.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm not a big drinker. And me and my friend used to we would go to pianos and like, we'd go all these spots where like, I mean, you could drink or like.
But you didn't need to.
Sometimes we had like one, to support the business, but
Yeah.
we would dance the whole night. And I miss that. I miss like dance floors.
It's really hard to find dance floors here, I think, because all these clubs are overpopulated.
Yeah, well, I don't go to like clubs. I like bars and lounges and stuff like that. But I dig later because I'll make my own dance floor, I guess.
Yeah.
I like going there. Yeah, that's a fun. Malalam's cool too.
Malalam's fun.
I like going there. And yeah, I have it. I sing at Church Bar on Wednesday nights.
I saw that.
Yeah.
What do you sing? You're singing jazz, aren't you?
I sing like jazz, contemporary,
That's
chilled
cool.
out music. It's like a wine Wednesday type of thing.
Nice.
So that's
it's Whiskey Wednesday.
yeah.
If you want to have some wine, you can stop.
Yeah, whiskey, wine, whatever
Yeah.
suits you. But yeah, I sing there, so I hang out there, I guess.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
That's cool. So for our viewers, where can they find you on social?
Oh yeah, you can follow me, Elia Esparza Music, on Instagram and on YouTube. And then, I mean, if you type in my name, I should come up. And on Facebook, it's official Elia Esparza. Official Elia Esparza. My all of them are different. My Twitter and Snapchat are Miss Elia Maria. I'm not like super active on them, but I do post sometimes.
You're most active on IG?
Instagram, yeah. Instagram,
Me too.
YouTube, and Facebook. I
Okay.
would say those are my main. So Elia Esparza Music.
Any upcoming events that we could catch you at?
Yeah, sorry. Usually
You
on
got too
Wednesdays,
excited.
I'm like choking. Yeah, on Wednesdays, most Wednesdays I'll be at Church Bar from 8 to 10 p.m. And then I might be singing at the lighting of the tree on November 18th.
Wow, it's cool.
It's not confirmed. I probably shouldn't say it, but you know, most likely. Most likely.
Better do it now.
Lighting of the tree downtown.
Cool.
And then December 7th, 14th, and 23rd, I believe, I'll be at the Fountains.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a couple. The 21st. 7th,
21st.
14th, and 21st of December, I'll be at the Fountains around noon playing Christmas music.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
So.
It's already that time. Huh?
I know, like, wow.
Elia, again, thank you so much for being on the episode. And
Thanks for having me.
Again, I'm really looking forward to, you know, people hearing your story and, you know, hopefully catching some events and
Yeah.
hearing the local talent that we have here in El Paso.
Awesome.
So make sure you guys are tuning in every single Wednesday where we're dropping a new episode of Whiskey Wednesday podcast and having entrepreneurs, movers, and shakers like Elia here sharing their stories. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.